Okay, in this video we're covering a couple of new frames here from FLYWOO. It's actually the same frame just in a couple of different configurations. It's a 5-inch freestyle frame. It is called the Mr.Croc, and it's got your kind of standard, I guess, individual arms and a sandwich plate there, and you got a top plate there. This is the standard version with the 25mm standoffs for your electronics, but you have 3 mounting sections, front, middle, and back for your different 20x20 or 30x30 boards. The other version here is the Mr.Croc-SL, also 5-inch. I think there might be a 7-inch version as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, this is, again, basically the same bottom plate here, but the top plate's a little bit different. The front here for your GoPro mount or whatever is the same 25mm standoff, but then the back section where the battery goes, these standoffs are 13mm, so it's basically a slam down in the back, I guess for a different kind of CG, but the same bottom plate there with 3 different mounting options there, individual arms, and a sandwich plate. But what's really unique about this frame is that you can reconfigure the arms in 4 different ways here. So this is 4 shapes. You have Dead Cat with no props in view, True X, no props in view, and then you have here a Stretch X or Hybrid. So I guess this hybrid here is basically the arms are further apart and the back closer together in the front. So this would be the Stretch X, and then True X in the back here, and then Stretch X here. The arms are closer together in the front here and also in the back. And I think that's why in the configurations here where the 2 arms are more forward and together, it doesn't say no props. Some of the props are going to show up in your camera view, but in this scenario here where the arms are, as you can see, pushed back and out in the front, it says no props in view. So you can configure the arms in 4 different ways here based on where the screws go, and I'll try and show that to you a little bit later when I start putting these frames together. But that's essentially the differences between the 2 frames. This is probably going to go together just like most other frames out there. So I think what I'll do here for the regular version here, not the slam version, I think I'm going to go with the True X here with this basically no props in view, and then maybe for the slam version I'll go maybe for a little bit different configuration, maybe this hybrid here, something like that. Let's see when I actually put the frames together, but obviously you can easily change it by just adjusting one screw, and I'll show you that here when I put the frame together. Okay, so I'm going to build the standard version first. Here are all the carbon pieces out of the bag. Here's some of the other pieces here. You got these nice gold standoffs and camera mount. This looks just like the one on the Ants, so it looks like I'll need to probably use some heat shrink or something to prevent it from sliding around. And you have some arm bumpers here, looks like. I believe those are arm bumpers printed in PLA, so it should protect the carbon a little bit. The color that's on the slam version, I think, is I think it's like a dark gray or gunmetal color. So the gold, I kind of like that color as well. Not sure if they're interchangeable, the colors, if you can get the gunmetal in the standard version and gold in the slam. That I'm not 100% sure on. Here's some of the M3 screws that are included to do the build, and you get a foam battery pad. I'm probably not going to use this, and you also get a Kevlar battery strap. Seen this before. All of the pieces, I believe, are 2mm if I'm not mistaken. So bottom plate's 2mm, top plate's 2mm, and sandwich plate also 2mm, and then these arms should be 5mm. Yeah, so it's about 5mm for that. So I believe the way this goes here is if you want, let's see, there's 4 screws. This is actually at the back. Here's the front. This is the front over here. I think all the arms are exactly the same. Yeah, these are all the same. Let's double check here. So they are interchangeable, so if you do break an arm, you just need 1 extra arm. That's kind of nice. Okay, so in order to get the arm sort of further out and back, I guess be the true X or the dead cat where the props aren't in view, the arm's got to be kind of like this, and so you're going to line up the holes in this fashion like this. You can see. And so basically, this hole here and this hole here and this hole here will line up, and you use 3 screws. I use 3 screws in these 3 holes here, and then this one is blocked. And then if you wanted to use the stretched X, where the arm is, the motor is more forward and further in, you're going to use these 3 holes here and these 3 holes here, and it's going to line up like this. There we go. Should line up like that. And you can see how the arm is more forward and closer to the body in that configuration. Okay, so I got the basically the bottom section assembled with the arms, and just want to point out the screws that I'm using here. It's also noted in the diagram here, the M3x10 and the M3x16. The longer 16mm screws are the ones that are in the middle here, and that will go into the standoffs here. The shorter M3x10mm screws goes into this press fit nut here and this one here. And those are the 10mm screws here and here. So all 3 of these are holding the arm. So when you switch to the other config, this is going to remain the M3x16. That standoff doesn't change. But instead of using the press fit nut over here, you're going to use these 2 over here along with the standoff, because the arm is going to be moved out. The arms aren't going to be actually butting up against each other in the stretched X config where the arm is out and more forward. So this one in this config here where the arm is further back, this press fit nut is not being used. You can see it's blocked. That one's not being used. So you actually, when you switch it out, it'll just be the 3 on the outside here, and these 2 press fit nuts and this standoff are going to hold the arm on in the other configuration. So that's pretty much it. Just another look at the arms, a little closer, chamfered. Pretty nice. Only 3 holes for the motor mounts. That's pretty standard these days. Not a whole lot of carbon dust. I've been handling the frame, and not a lot of dust here. The edges of the other plates aren't chamfered, it's just the arms, so that's nice and smooth. These are pretty sharp, but there's no burring or anything you can see that I can tell. Looks like you have on this is the front section here. Looks like you've got a 20x20 mounting hole here. Not sure. Let's see. We only have 4 more standoffs left, so I think we got 2 over here and 2 back here. So it looks like we have mount holes for 30x30 in the back and 20x20, and also here in the front 30x30 and 20x20, and this will be the standoffs. And then you have the camera side plates here. Not sure what these additional holes are for necessarily. Also you have 20x20 and 30x30 in the center stack as well, as you can see there. And they have cutouts here so that you can have the screws. You can actually screw through this little sandwich plate here, so that the screw will actually go into the bottom plate over here. So that's nice, all good, well thought out in the design. So yeah, it's gonna go ahead and just basically the rest of it is just sticking the top plate on with the small screws here, the M3x6mm, and then I'll show you what it looks like all assembled, and I'll give you the weight. Okay, so here it is completely assembled. Got the top plate on there. Pretty straightforward. Getting the side plates in is actually a little bit difficult. They actually made these holes a little bit too small, so these aren't actually sliding around at all. Other than that, the frame went together pretty easily. You can see the nose part of this frame sticks out more than I think on a lot of other 5-inch Freestyle frames for this extra mounting position here behind the FPV cameras. So that's kind of the unique thing with this one. I think the slam version, the only difference is there's going to be a standoff here, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to have this, basically looks like you have this and the standoff that goes in between this little top plate and this top section and this little midsection, and then another one that goes between this midsection and the bottom plate. So there's a small standoff there. But I'm going to put this together and we'll actually see that in more, I guess, close up, not just in the diagram after I put that together. But let me just give you the weight of the standard version first. So I'm guessing 130 grams. Oh, look, that was a little high. 120.5 grams. So not too bad considering all the extra carbon for the setup. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll put the slammed version together, and obviously that'll be in the gunmetal color, and we'll see what that looks like along with the weight. Okay, so here's the slammed version assembled, and you can see the difference here. You have these 13mm standoffs here instead of the 25mm standoffs in the back section. You can see very tight, so basically you have one board here, maybe a second one, 490C flight controller, video transmitter back here, maybe a split type camera in the front, something like that, or just like one board in each of the three sections. But yeah, I put the arms here in the stretch X configuration so you can see how it sticks out and more forward more, so props are probably going to show up in the camera view in this setup here. And then obviously the biggest difference is that there's a long 20mm screw that goes through here. There's a short standoff here. There's only one of those, and then another 13mm standoff below that. The long 20mm screw goes through all of those, and then the standard 25mm standoffs in the front, and this is your cage for your FPV camera. So that's pretty much the only difference. It looks pretty nice now. I thought this was gunmetal. It's just black. The camera side plates are gunmetal. You see that's like a silver gunmetal color, but the standoffs are just plain black. And I'm thinking the weight's probably about the same thing. Maybe I'm thinking it's probably less, 115 grams. Yeah, you lose the weight of those extra standoffs there, so it's a little bit less weight. We have less space for components, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video with the frame overview of these two guys. And I'm probably going to build the gold one first, because that's going to be easier to build. This one's going to require, the slammed one here is going to require a little more thought onto what kind of components I can use, because you don't have a lot of vertical space. They're only 13mm. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.